He joins us now via the phone. Michael Page is standing by. MVP, how are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Very, very well. Thank you. How are you doing?
I got nervous that you were eluding us, like you were eluding those punches from David Rickles, but we found you, so I'm happy.
Yes. No, apologies. Yeah, just been a bit busy, a bit crazy at the moment. There's a lot happening.
I can understand, and I appreciate you giving us some time. Thank you very much. Do you agree with that sentiment? Was that your best performance in Bellator thus far?
I'd have to say yes, only more just because of how I felt. I genuinely felt like that was the best I've ever felt in a fight. So obviously, the performance was great as well. But I felt like that was the only way that performance was going to go because, the preparation for this one, I was telling everybody I was doing a lot different things in my preparation. My coach had changed a few things, and I just felt super, super fast and super energized. So yeah, it was definitely by far probably one of the best my best performances.
Could you elaborate on that? Like, what were you doing differently? Why did you feel so good? Why was it the best?
Well, I think the main thing is we added a weights program, and normally I've done very, very lightweight weights, just very light weights. I've never really gone too deep into any weight program. And my coach said he thinks it's time that I actually was a bit heavier in my fights for one and a little bit more explosive. And he was definitely right about that. I felt unbelievable. My legs, I felt I could have gone, 7, 8, 9 rounds. Just that's how fresh my legs felt, and that's why I was getting away with dancing in between rounds.
It was amazing. I mean, to do that, we've seen you do that sort of thing before. It felt like maybe it was dialed up a little bit, and now I can understand why. Have you ever had an opponent quit like that, mentally quit like that? You broke them to the point where they were telling the referee, I want no mas, no more, I'm done. Has that ever happened prior to Bellator or in any other, combat sport that you have ever been a part of?
In the kickboxing world, I had a lot of my name was very big, so I had a lot of people just mentally break even before I stepped in, and that was just to do with my name. But in the mixed martial arts world, I rarely even see it, let alone it happened to you. So we know how tough everybody is in just to get in the cage, but someone of Dave Rickles' standard as well. There could have been a million ways that I had predicted this to finish, and that definitely wouldn't have been one of them.
And what is that like to see that, to actually be in the contest and then see your opponent break like that? What does that feel like?
It's amazing. I think it's just tribute to exactly where I was and how good I was on that night. And like I said, I felt amazing, but you can feel amazing and still not, fight the way you want. And I think everything came to fruition, came to plan, and I was so excited about just that whole night. Was just unbelievable for me. I'm still buzzing off it now. I probably watched the fight about 10 times.
Wow. Is it possible that feels better than a knockout, like the Cyborg knockout? Does that feel even better because you made the opponent do that?
Yeah, well, obviously they both have their own bonuses. Like that Cyborg KO went all over the place, and I don't think this fight has done the same thing. But in terms of the crowd this time round, I felt was just they were like times 10 to the last fight. How that lifted me. My performance where I was, there were so many bonuses in this fight. So I really did enjoy this fight in so many different ways. Him quitting, it's not even something I thought about too deep. As much as it is an achievement to get someone as tough as him to quit, but I just enjoyed the whole thing. Like there's every part of it I enjoyed.
How much did all the theatrics beforehand with the heart and all that fire you up? Did any of that bother you?
No, I never care for all of that kind of stuff. I know a lot of the times that people coming. But to be fair, I kind of understood his character. He's a bit of a joker himself, and I like that. I like the fact that people are characters.
Okay, so it never got under your skin. It didn't make it more personal.
No, it never. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I felt absolutely just in the zone. I've never felt as hungry and as fired up as I have before in this fight. Like I said, I was in the back just doing drills with my training partners and my coaches, and they were looking at me like, "What? You look possessed." Like it's, and that's exactly how I felt. I felt possessed. I felt like I just felt I've never felt that fired up before. There was like a focused anger inside of me as well. And normally it's just more enjoyment, but I had the enjoyment side with that kind of focused anger, and I felt unbelievable.
Hard to believe that it's been around a year and a half since you competed in Bellator. Of course, you had the boxing match, but November of 2016 feels like a very long time ago. Like the time off, like, did you feel like you kind of had to remind people who MVP is? You had to do something spectacular. I'll get to the daily stuff in a second, but did you sort of feel like you had to make up for lost time?
Not really. Like, I say this to a lot of people. I know what I can do in the cage, and the time off was just unfortunate. The time off was time off that I wish I did, which never happened that way. And if I could go back, I'd have been in the cage a lot earlier doing this. But I don't feel like I have to prove to anybody. And if anybody that feels like I do, usually people that I don't care for their opinions. Every time I go, I said nobody can do what I do in the cage. There's nobody in the world that can do what I do in the cage in terms of just how many angles I hit, in terms of how I can capture the crowd, the moves that I can pull off in the cage, the speed, my accuracy, the excitement. I think I put on a full a show that nobody else can actually put on while they're in the cage.
Yeah, I think you made a pretty strong point once again, as far as that is concerned on Friday. And so the time off you mentioned, like you wish you didn't have that time off. You could do it differently. Why were you out for so long?
It was a mixture of a lot of things. It was a mixture of injuries, which have been a bit of a headache, and I think this is another reason why the weight training has actually helped me as well. I feel a lot stronger. Paul Jarman, one of our physios, absolutely amazing to work with from back to basic. I've been doing a lot more physio work just to make sure, even when I feel. This is where I think a lot of fighters go wrong, is when they feel amazing, they don't ever check themselves out, and they don't get the continuous treatment because they feel good, and that's where things then can then go wrong in a big way. Where this time I've been making sure that I've been getting religious treatments every week, even when I'm feeling amazing, and again then building my strength up with the new weights program, with my coaches. I just think everything's just gone right. Whereas before, I kept getting injuries. There's a lot of personal stuff happening behind the scenes as well. Trying to arrange things with Bellator. The communications wasn't on point as it is now. And there was just a mixture of things. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to. It's taken me this long to get that fight, and if I could have changed it 100%, I would.
And now, of course, I have to ask you about Paul Daley. I thought it was unfortunate that this fight didn't happen at Bellator 200, especially because it was taking place in London. I think it's one of the very best fights that Bellator could put on. The time that it has taken to put this together almost adds to the legend of it, but I want to see it. And so he has been very vocal about it. I know you guys have gone back and forth. I know you have said that, time's up, you've moved on. Is there anything we can do to convince you otherwise? Can this fight be saved, or is it really dead?
I'd never say it's dead, just because I'm happy to fight anybody. And if that comes up, it comes up. If it comes up again, it comes up again. I'm just like, I don't know if you've seen, understood what's happened from the beginning, but I've had contracts. I've signed contracts with this guy a countless amount of times now. And, having someone be disrespectful about you in that way, and then still not want to fight you, then call you out and then still not want to fight you, and then call you out again and still not want to fight you, it's tiring. And I feel like, you know, I don't have that same fire as I did. Like I said, it was personal. I don't have that same fire in me as I did before. But just because I see him as a bit of a joke. Like he's lost a hell of a lot of respect. You know, we can have a little, you know, back and forth with each other. But a lot of the time, regardless, even when there's a lot of heated moments, a lot of fighters do respect each other. But I genuinely just don't respect him anymore. I have zero respect for this man in the way he's conducted himself. It seemed ridiculously childish, and it is childish. It kind of shows me where, you know, the Paul Daley that we used to see, that we saw years ago in the UFC, sucker punching somebody after the fight, is still the Paul Daley that stands in front of us today. And he hasn't grown at all. Years have gone past, and he's still the same person. This fight should have happened. If you think about it, he bragged about having 2 contracts in front of him, one being myself and one being John Fitch. And he decided to take the wrestler and then complain about being wrestled in his own fight, booing his own fight while he's getting punched in the face, and not take the fight 2 weeks later. That would have made way more sense in terms of what everybody wanted, in terms of what he wanted as a style, not being wrestled, actually wanted to stand on his feet and strike, and prove, you know, he's the best striker. You know, if he's the best, who's the best striker, should I say? There's just so many things that I was just like, I just don't take him seriously anymore. So him calling me out now, it feels like a bit of a get out of jail free card, just because, you know, he lost that fight and he needs something to kind of push himself back up into the limelight. And I think, you know what, go and prove yourself to be worthy of me again. And then if you do that, then yeah, we can fight. But outside of that, I genuinely do not give a crap about this guy. And like I said, I've lost all respect, so I don't even care to show him any time. I'm not saying no to this fight, because if this MVP steps in the cage with Paul Daley, it'll be a bad night for him anyway. And last time I spoke to you, I also said if I was to fight him, I don't want him to be able to feed his kids afterwards. So he'd have to put all of it on the table. And if he really does want this fight that bad now, he needs to prove it one way or the other.
Do you believe that he wants to fight, or do you think this is some sort of, you know, like PR stunt? He's got new management. Like, do you actually feel like he wants this?
I actually said to a lot of my guys, I think it's PR, because, as you say, he's got new management, and they know how to make, you know, it's their job to know how to make fighters relevant and how to, you know, push their people's names back up. And again, it's a bit of a coincidence. He's just all of a sudden now he's got Twitter, he's got Instagram, he's got all these things, and the first thing he does is call my name. But yet he talks of me as if I'm a lesser person and I'm not on his level. But now he needs me to become relevant again, and this is why I say I have no interest in doing you any favors. I haven't replied to him. You know, I've spoken to you know, the media, you know, the MMA media, honestly, and I just say how I feel. But I've always been like that, and but I just don't care. I think I'm not the one calling you out. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. I didn't mention it, and I will never mention his name. You know, the situation is a situation. Like I said, if it comes back up, I think he's given up something. He's either gone back out and proven himself, or, like I said, he's putting everything on the line to fight me, and that's the only way it's going to come up again.
How soon do you want to return?
Oh, as soon as possible, man. I'm looking at a boxing fight, just to get one in as quick as possible. So I'm hoping that goes ahead. There's still a few things we need to kind of sort out, and then straight back in MMA. Like, I feel ridiculously fresh still, because if you saw in that fight, I didn't get touched. And you know, I'm not injured or anything from that fight, so yeah, I'm good to go, man. I'm back in the gym already working on you know, the next moves and bettering myself. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to being in the cage again, being in the ring again, and just you know, showing off what I can do.
And last thing for you, Michael, because we've asked several of our guests today who are from England about this, about the news of Michael Bisping retiring. I'm wondering what Michael Bisping meant to you, if anything, and your feelings when you found out that he was walking away.
I understand it, and now he's just someone that's been in the game for a long time, and was struggling to cross that final hurdle, and then he did it, and he was riding on that wave. Unfortunately, lost it again. But again, I think he was already coming to the end of his career anyway. Even if he didn't, I think he would have retired. He's a wicked character, man. Like, I didn't really follow him before, just purely because I didn't really follow MMA when I was doing the kickboxing. But when I got in, obviously, when you learn about it and you kind of you backtrack and download all the old stuff and realize who he is and what he does mean to the MMA community. Anybody in the British MMA scene would have mentioned his name. And he's done a lot, man. And I personally am proud of him, just because of what he's achieved in the mixed martial arts, and I'm sure what he's going to go on to achieve in whatever he goes on to do. And he's a wicked character. Whether you like him or hate him, he's a really good character to have in sport, full stop. And to have him as one of your own, shall I say, being a Brit. I'm just saying, I'm just really proud of him and what he's done, what he's achieved.
Great stuff, Mike. I mean, really, what a performance. That, to me, is one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. To see another man in high-level MMA quit like that is nothing short of amazing. So congratulations to you. Welcome back, and looking forward to the next one.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to get back in. Thank you for having me on the show, as always, man. Take care.
All right, there he is. Michael Venom Page, one of the most exciting fighters in the sport today.